When severe weather strikes, do you know what to do?
Our KSHB 41 weather team is here to help you get ready for anything. Tonight, we're highlighting some of the biggest things you should know going into this season.
Surviving the Storm, a KSHB 41 severe weather special, sponsored by NFM. Here now is Chief Meteorologist Gary Lezak.
Welcome to our spring weather special. The entire KSHB 41 weather team is here to walk you through what you need to know heading into this spring weather season. One of the biggest concerns this time of the year is the risk for tornadoes. Meteorologist Lindsay Anderson explains why Tornado Alley even exists and what the trend has been in recent years.
The United States has more tornadoes than any other country in the world. On average, we get about 1,200 tornadoes a year. The second most is found in Canada with only 100 tornadoes. Now, tornadoes can happen anytime, anywhere, but they're most likely to form east of the Rocky Mountains. We have the traditional Tornado Alley. This includes the Plains states from Texas to Nebraska. Some consider South Dakota. But there's another area in the southeast that experienced their fair share of powerful tornadoes. And this hotspot is called Dixie Alley. This is all thanks to the influence of the Rocky Mountains, desert Southwest, and moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. Let me explain. The Rocky Mountains run mainly north to south, and this allows the cold, dry air to work its way southward, but also the warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico to move northward. The other factor here is the hot, dry air coming from the desert Southwest as it moves in over the mountains and influences the middle part of the atmosphere. There's a big difference here in the moisture content, temperature, but also wind speed and wind direction, or wind shear, to create the perfect setup for rotating thunderstorms and therefore tornadoes in this region. Now, the last two severe weather seasons have been fairly quiet in producing tornadoes over the traditional Tornado Alley. In fact, each state in Tornado Alley saw less tornadoes the last two seasons compared to the 20-year average. The last two seasons shown here in white, whereas the numbers in red are that 20-year average. Jenny Pittman with the National Weather Service of Topeka reiterated this for me.
2020 and 2021 were both pretty inactive, especially in Kansas. We only had 17 tornadoes in 2020 and 37 in 2021. Our average is about 85 or 90.
Dixie Alley, on the other hand, has reported an increase. Each state experienced more tornadoes the last two seasons compared to their 20-year average. Why is this? Jenny says it's related to a large-scale weather pattern.
In the last couple of years, I think La Nina has had a big influence. We've had La Nina both last winter and then this winter as well. And that tends to bring an earlier and more intense severe weather season to the southeast U.S.
She also says that it's not so much about a shift of Tornado Alley, but rather an expansion to include areas who haven't seen as much activity in the past. The most important thing here to remember is to always stay prepared no matter where you are. Back to you, Gary.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. As we help getting your family ready for severe weather season, tornadoes are rare and we must take every risk seriously. Meteorologist Jeff Penner reminds us why we should never get complacent when it comes to severe weather.
I was born during the peak of tornado season, May 22nd, 1970, and raised in Kansas City, Johnson County, Kansas, the eastern side of Tornado Alley. There have been around 50 tornado warnings in Johnson County since 1986. I've been chasing a few times as well. One of my most memorable chases was 25 years ago. I went storm chasing with Gary Lezak in southern Nebraska, and in my 52 years in Tornado Alley and being in over 50 tornado warnings, I have never seen a tornado. How is that possible? But it's true, and I've even tried to see one. I have every reason to be complacent and not take a tornado warning seriously. In reality, it is quite the opposite. When dealing with the chance of an imminent tornado, there is every reason to take it seriously. It only takes one tornado, and in a matter of seconds, lives can be lost and or changed forever. Literally, a tornado can blast through a neighborhood in minutes and destroy it. And in less than 30 seconds, our lives can be changed forever. At KSHB 41, we take tornado warnings very seriously, and we broadcast tornado warnings that are issued by the National Weather Service. Warning Coordination Meteorologist Andy Bailey at the National Weather Service in Pleasant Hill, Missouri, says it all.
Look, on most days, there's absolutely no chance of a tornado. So on those days where they are possible, when we issue that tornado warning, we've whittled down to a very small time scale and a very small area where the chances are actually thousands of times more likely that you could be struck by a tornado. We're just asking you to seek shelter for like 15 minutes until that storm has passed. You know, that's something we're asking of everyone maybe once or twice in a year for their particular location.
If the threat moves on and you did not see the tornado or did not have any damage or injuries, try to be thankful and show respect that you were spared. If you experienced a tornado and you have damage, you will be thankful that you took the tornado warning seriously. Stay with KSHB 41 and we'll keep you advised. I'm meteorologist Jeff Penner.
Thank you, Jeff. Now, I get asked this all the time. What is the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning? A tornado watch means conditions are favorable for severe thunderstorms that may produce tornadoes. Thunderstorms will likely just begin to form as a watch is issued. Watches often cover large areas, sometimes a half of a state wide. A tornado warning means we see a signature on radar that looks like a tornado or a trained spotter has just reported one and it is already verified on the ground. If a tornado warning has been issued for your location, you should go to your safe place immediately. And if you're outdoors, you may hear the tornado siren, so get indoors if at all possible into your designated safe place. These advisories are issued by the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service. When there is a tornado warning, you'll take shelter in a basement, a storm cellar, or a safe room. But if you don't have that option, we want you to know where to go. So find the lowest level, center part, smallest room of your home. Oftentimes, that's a bathroom or a closet in the middle of your house.
We see a lot of these during severe weather season. This is a shelf cloud. A shelf cloud is associated with strong thunderstorms producing strong wind gusts. These shelf clouds can be spotted from far away and can stretch for miles long. As a shelf cloud moves through, you'll immediately notice high winds and a big temperature drop. This is often followed by heavy rain and sometimes hail. And if a cloud is illuminated in this blue, you know there's hail inside that storm. Here's what's happening in this cloud. A strong thunderstorm does have a strong updraft, but also a strong downdraft can occur as some rain-cooled air makes it all the way to the surface. It starts to meet up with warmer air outside of that storm. It creates a weak front along that, or a gust front, and that instability will then allow for more clouds or storms to develop along it, and that is when we often see a shelf cloud.
All right, coming up, are you fascinated by lightning? We will explain the dangers of these powerful electric sparks and why you should get indoors when the thunder roars.
Surviving the Storm, a KSHB 41 weather special, sponsored by NFM. We'll be back right after this.
Welcome back to our spring weather special. When you hear a tornado warning, you likely know to take cover in the safest spot of your home. But when you hear a severe thunderstorm warning, you might not know to take that seriously as well. A line of severe thunderstorms will likely impact more people and could cause just as much damage as a tornado. In fact, damage from severe thunderstorm winds is more common than damage from tornadoes because there are so many more of them. One common feature of severe thunderstorms is lightning. While many people love to watch thunderstorms and see those flashes of light and the lightning shooting across the sky, they are dangerous, even deadly. Meteorologist Wes Peary explains why we see more lightning in the warmer months and what you need to do and to know if lightning strikes near you.
Kansas Cityans are used to thunder and lightning. I mean, we get it all year round, but it mostly strikes in the warm months. That makes sense because in order to get a thunderstorm, you have to have a cloud developing. And a cloud is warm rising air, which condenses into a liquid. And of course, the cloud up there is really cold. It's below freezing. So you get ice crystals and pellets that form in the cloud. They're bouncing around. They collide with one another, and then charges form. They eventually separate themselves in two different parts of the cloud. The base of the cloud has negative charges. The top of the cloud has positive charges, and the ground is also mainly positively charged. Once those two charges get strong enough, they discharge, and we know that as lightning. They can discharge within the cloud, called intra-cloud lightning, or they can discharge from the cloud to the ground, called cloud-to-ground lightning. 80% of lightning strikes are intra-cloud, 20% are cloud-to-ground, but there's also a small portion of lightning strikes called positive strikes. And that's what happens when you have a rogue negative charge on the ground and then a positive charge way at the top of the cloud called an anvil. Since the distance between the anvil and the ground is so great, that charge is extra strong because it has to make up the distance. So once that strikes, it's usually the deadliest form because of its strength. Now you may be tempted to go seek shelter underneath a tree to stay dry from the rain, but that's actually a really dangerous idea. The negative charge from the base of the clouds will start to draw the positive charges up the tree right before lightning strikes. If you're caught outside in a thunderstorm, you gotta get inside. Preferably a structure, but a car works too. You can actually determine how far away a storm is by counting the time between when you see the lightning and hear the thunder. When you see the lightning, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And for every 5 seconds between those two, the storm is 1 mile away. Another way to tell is to listen to the sound of thunder. If it's a long, drawn-out rumble, the storm is probably far away. But if it's a sharp, cracking sound, the storm is probably really close to you. This may or may not come as a surprise to you, but according to the National Weather Service, men are 4 times more likely to be struck by lightning than women because of the activities they participate in. If you do encounter someone that's been struck by lightning, it is okay to touch them immediately. Call 911 and begin CPR.
What is a wall cloud? A wall cloud is a lowering that has some rotation that's caused by a severe thunderstorm, and is actually caused by rising air from the cumulonimbus cloud. Here's the big, huge cumulonimbus cloud. Here comes the rising air. As that happens, if it's strong enough, the pressures will lower and the cloud condensation lowers, causing the wall cloud. A shelf cloud is the exact opposite. That's when it blasts down to the ground and we have rain, cooled air spreading out, causing the shelf cloud. This is a wall cloud, and tornadoes often come from these. Coming up in 2 minutes, the moment you've all been waiting for. I'll break down my forecast for severe weather this spring. It's time to use a breakthrough technology known as the LRC. We are about to have an active couple of months ahead. Here's a look at the severe weather outlook for the Kansas City region.
Lightning, hail, tornadoes, and warmer weather. As the temperature rises and the humidity increases, thunderstorms will become more likely and the risks for severe weather will increase. And we have the technology to know when the most dangerous storm systems will target our area, which we will explain. But first, Tornado Alley has been rather quiet since May 28, 2019.
We do have debris on the radar now, confirmed.
When this EF4 tornado destroyed parts of Linwood, Kansas. This monster tornado was heading right toward Kansas City, and fortunately it weakened and lifted. Since that day, nearly 3 years ago, parts of the Kansas City metro area have been in a record-long tornado watch drought. Unfortunately, there are strong signals that we will have a few big severe weather risks near Kansas City in the coming weeks. We know this because of the LRC. A unique weather pattern sets up each fall, and this year's pattern is close to 64 days long. Yes, the pattern is cycling regularly and repeating it close to every 9 weeks. The LRC allows our weather team to know when and where the major storm systems will strike. The LRC helped our team bring you the most accurate predictions of the winter storms that produced close to 20 inches of snow in the KC metro area this winter. For the second year in a row, we predicted accurately how much snow would fall during the winter season. Last year, we were exactly right in predicting 15.5 inches of snow, and this year we were quite close once again as our weather team's snow prediction of 19.2 inches fell only 1/2 inch off the mark. 19.7 inches fell. We apply the same weather forecasting technique to predict the biggest weather disasters during severe weather season and then hurricane season. And what has happened already is of extreme importance. Tornado disasters have already been devastating in this year's LRC. Parts of Mayfield, Kentucky were destroyed on December 10th, just a few months ago. 56 people were killed as this long-track tornado was on the ground for 165 miles. Then on March 5th, a strong tornado ripped across Iowa, part of a tornado outbreak that just barely missed Kansas City. The deadly tornado was just southwest of Des Moines, killing 7 people.
These tornado outbreaks were caused by this year's LRC. In October, when it moved through, that produced a significant severe weather outbreak. The pattern returned in December, almost the same pattern, and it produced 2 major severe weather outbreaks. One, the Mayfield Kentucky day. Every one of those red triangles is a tornado report. And 5 days later, a major severe weather outbreak, including high winds in Kansas City. We know when this pattern is going to return.
Kansas City will likely be close to 1 or 2 of these larger severe weather outbreaks. The part of the pattern that produced the Mayfield, Kentucky tornado is due between April 15th and 24th, or likely close to the 19th or 20th of April. And the Iowa tornado disaster part of the pattern will cycle back through close to May 8th, give or take a couple days. These will likely be 2 of the biggest severe weather setups of the season, but there are others we are identifying. The first half of May looks wet and stormy, and then the recent storm we just had in the first week of spring is due to cycle back through around Memorial Day. We are forecasting near average rainfall and above average temperatures this spring. Severe weather season will wind down as summer approaches in June.
Meteorologists, reporters, and photographers aren't the only ones who track thunderstorms for KSHB 41 News. The KSHB 41 storm chasers help us keep you and your family safe every severe weather season. Steve, Mikey, and Eddie are great storm chasers that we work with, and they all have different backgrounds. One is a deputy sheriff, another the director of engineering, and another an associate professor at a Kansas university. Each of them have years and years of tornado chasing experience. While they haven't had many major storms to chase in recent years, they are passionate about getting the word out and helping our weather team get you the best information.
What is the difference between a tornado and a funnel? A tornado is a violently rotating column of air touching the ground, usually attached to the base of a thunderstorm. What about a funnel? It is also a violently rotating column of air not touching the ground, usually attached to the base of a thunderstorm. And there are some instances, if you're out storm chasing or you see something in the distance, sometimes a funnel can look like a tornado if the horizon is obscured by trees or other objects. Regardless, it is a scary scene.
All right, coming up, many of you look forward to the warmth and sunshine of spring. Well, stick around. In just over 2 minutes, we will share how the change in seasons impact businesses and everyday people. Many of you get excited for spring as winter comes to an end, and after what we've seen the last few months, some of you told us you're sick of the snow and ready for the sunshine. KSHB 41 News reporter Jordan Betts shares why business owners and folks across Kansas City are looking forward to spring.
Spring is here. I feel like a lot of things can be solved with fresh air, so I love fresh air. I love opening the windows in the spring, like it's my favorite time.
And people in KC are out and enjoying every second of it.
It makes me feel good, like really good.
This comes as winter seemed to make an appearance week after week. The warmth and sunshine spring brings us is something psychologists say spreads a lot of joy.
When it gets warm and the sun's out and it's nice, there are patios everywhere open. People want to get out and get back together. So that's something that can really, one major improvement is that we actually feel more like doing things than we did.
And improves our mental health.
In the winter, seasonal affective disorder is a thing for anywhere between 10 and 20% of the population, which is a nice big chunk. And so what you're going to see around that is people, their melatonin gets dysregulated, and they feel, a lot of symptoms of depression as a result of that.
So once those beautiful days start to become a regular thing, embrace it.
Remember how the winter was, and when you would have done anything to get outside and cook some chicken on a grill or some barbecue, whatever. Get out and do those things, and make sure to connect with other people.
In Kansas City, Jordan Betts, KSHB 41 News.
Thank you, Jordan. As we wrap up our spring weather special, I asked some of the KSHB 41 weather team what their biggest concerns are for the severe weather season this year. Take a listen.
What is my greatest fear for this severe weather season? It is complacency. We have avoided major severe weather over the last few years, but these are some tornadoes around the country over the last few years, even one there in Haiti, Missouri. And so you know the weather can change fast, especially here in Kansas City. So never take severe weather for granted.
My biggest concern this spring weather season is there's going to be a large, very deadly tornado. We've been kind of a big tornado drought. In Missouri, we've had 3 of the top 10 deadliest tornadoes. It's been 9 years since an EF5 tornado. Missouri total has had 2 F to EF5 tornadoes in our history. Well, Kansas tripled that with 6. So I'm concerned there could be a large, very deadly tornado that catches people off guard.
Let's hope Wes's biggest concern does not come close to happening. That does it for this year's spring weather special. We hope this helps you survive the storm when storms come our way this season. Stay with KSHB 41 and we will keep you advised. Have a good night.